Krillin initially trained at the Orin Temple Orphanage. Anyway, moving on, upon his arrival at Kame House, Krillin already had a power level of 32, while Goku had 42. Krillin would then begin training for the martial arts tournament. At the time, Master Roshi had a power level of 75, although this wasn't his maximum power. Furthermore, Master Roshi was much weaker due to lack of training. Seeing the potential of Krillin, and especially Goku, he trained secretly alongside the boys to ensure his victory in the tournament. After the training and at the 21st tournament, Krillin's power level had risen to 68 units. With this power, Krillin easily qualified for the martial arts tournament. In his first match, Krillin faced Bacterian, who had a power level of only 20. However, Krillin had some difficulty defeating him due to Bacterian's unique abilities, if we can call them that. Moving on, in the semifinals, Krillin would face Master Roshi disguised as Jackie-kun. Jackie-kun had a power level of 90, thus defeating Krillin and advancing to the finals. After that, Krillin would return to train with Master Roshi, but on an adventure with Bulma and Goku, Krillin had to face General Blue of the Red Ribbon Army. Krillin still had a power level of 68, while General Blue had a power level of 71. It would have been a balanced fight if it weren't for General Blue's paralysis ability. That's right, folks, when you're not confident in your fists, you resort to little powers. Goku would end up saving Krillin and defeating General Blue and the entire Red Ribbon Army later on. Moving on, the Uranai Baba tournament would begin, and Krillin would be the first to fight. With a power level of 70, he would face Draculaman, who had a power level of 67. Despite Krillin being slightly stronger, he would end up losing to Draculaman due to his ability to suck blood from thick-headed opponents. Continuing, after 3 years, at Martial Arts Tournament number 22, Krillin already had a power level of 115. In his first match, Krillin would face Chiaotzu. Chiaotzu had a power level of 94, despite Chiaotzu being weaker. He had the advantage. He possessed various abilities, such as telekinesis, Dodonpa, and was one of the first characters to be shown floating. But in the end, Krillin ended up winning against Chiaotzu in a slightly comedic manner.
9 - 1!
In the semifinals, Krillin would face Goku. At this point in the story, Goku already had a power level of 150. So despite fighting well, Krillin was defeated by Goku. At the end of the 22nd tournament, Krillin died for the first time at the hands of Tambourine. Tambourine had a power level of 137, thus killing Krillin with a single blow. After Krillin was revived, Krillin, Chiaotzu, Tien Shinhan, and Yamcha would train at Korin's tower, and after completing training with Korin, each would continue their training on their own. By the 23rd Martial Arts Tournament, Krillin already had a power level of 195. Unfortunately, Krillin would face Piccolo in his first match. Piccolo had a power level of 217. Despite having a good fight, Krillin would end up surrendering in the end. Continuing on, 5 years later, in DragonBallZ, Krillin here had a power level of 206, revealing that during these 5 years he hardly trained at all. Raditz would knock Krillin out of commission with just one kick. After Goku's death, Krillin and all the Z Warriors would train with Kami-sama. During training, the Z Warriors would face the Saiyans, Shorty and Scarface, with power levels of 400 and 500. In this illusion, all the Z Warriors were easily defeated. After 1 year, the great day of the Saiyans' arrival finally arrived. Seen here, Krillin already had a power level of 1,770. The Saibaman had a power level of 1,200. After Yamcha's death, Krillin became angry and unleashed his new technique called Gakusan Dam, thus killing almost all the Saibaman. Krillin, Piccolo, and Gohan stood no chance against Nappa. And Krillin only survived one more time because Goku arrived in time. After that, Krillin would face Vegeta already injured and with diminished ki. Krillin would be easily defeated, leaving Gohan to fight Vegeta alone, unable to move. Goku passes the energy of the Spirit Bomb to Krillin, momentarily raising Krillin's power to 20,000. Krillin launches the Spirit Bomb at Vegeta. but the wretch survives, now with a power level of 1100. We know that in the end, Krillin could have killed Vegeta with Yajirobe's sword, but he didn't at Goku's request. On planet Namek, Krillin would first encounter some low-class soldiers of Frieza. Here, Krillin already had a power level of 1860. Enough to defeat low-class soldiers. After that, he would save Den from Dodoria. Dodoria had a power level of 20,000. Therefore, Krillin and Gohan managed to escape from Dodoria. After that, Den would lead Krillin to Grand Elder Guru. The Grand Elder would unlock Krillin's hidden power, allowing Krillin to reach 14,000 in power. Later, Krillin and Gohan would face Guldo of the Ginyu Special Forces. Guldo had a power level of 3,000. But even though Krillin and Gohan were much stronger than Guldo, they almost died because Guldo had telekinesis and could stop time. In the end, they were saved by Vegeta. The next opponent would be Recoome, who easily defeated Vegeta and practically broke all of Krillin's bones with just one kick. But before they kicked the bucket, Goku saved them. In Krillin's next fight, Krillin, Gohan, and Vegeta would face Frieza. Here, Krillin already had a power level of 20,000. You might be wondering how. I don't know, but I have a theory that the Patriarch didn't unlock all his power at once, and over time, the rest would be unlocked gradually. But it's just a theory. Anyway, even so, Krillin was far behind in terms of power levels, especially compared to Frieza, both in his first form, and even more so in his second form. Krillin, despite this, managed to cut off a part of Frieza's tail. After that, Krillin served only to distract Frieza in his final form. And Krillin and Gohan also gave some of their energy to Piccolo to fight Frieza, while Goku gathered energy for the Spirit Bomb, or Genkidama, whichever you prefer. Frieza survived the Spirit Bomb, and here we witness one of Krillin's most dramatic deaths, using telekinesis. Frieza literally dragged Krillin upwards.
Hope you aren't afraid of heights. Please, no! No, Frieza! Don't do it! Goku!
After that, Goku would transform into a Super Saiyan, and well, we already know the end of the
5 minutes. That's how long you have. This planet is still going to blow. The core has been completely disintegrated.
2,000 years later.
Continuing on, Krillin would be revived, and now with 40,000 in power, he would ask you to leave a like on the video. Now, speaking seriously, with this power level, Krillin could easily defeat Dodoria, and even have a somewhat balanced fight with Recoome. Anyway, Frieza and King Cold would arrive on Earth. Here, Krillin couldn't do anything. Trunks from the future would arrive and end up defeating Frieza and his father, leaving the Z warriors aware of the androids. 3 years would pass until the arrival of the androids, during which Krillin trained harder, going from 40,000 to 450,000 in power. Despite this increase, Krillin was still much weaker than the Saiyans and the androids. Krillin was the only one not to fight the androids out of fear. After that, Krillin would save a family from Cell in his imperfect form. He had a brief fight against him, but our noseless little guy was lucky this time, as before Cell could kill him, he sensed Tien Shinhan and Piccolo's ki nearby and fled. Bulma would give him a remote with which Krillin could deactivate the androids, but Krillin, our Insel, couldn't because he was hypnotized by Android 18. Cell would finally reach his perfect form, reaching 980 million in power, and with just one kick, Cell put Krillin to sleep, reminiscent of the kick he received from Recoome, the difference being that with Recoome, he could at least talk. In the Cell games, Krillin had to fight against a Cell Jr. The Cell Juniors had a power level of 2 billion and 400 million, so Krillin was easily defeated. After 7 years, the Majin Buu saga would begin, and Krillin would participate in the 25th Martial Arts Tournament. Here, he already had 510,000 in power. With this power, he could already have a balanced fight with Frieza in his first form. Krillin would face Punta with only 38 in power. After that, Dabura would turn Krillin and Piccolo into stone. At this stage, Krillin wouldn't even have enough power to face Pui Pui. At Kami's lookout, Krillin couldn't do anything against Super Buu, as Super Buu had 52 billion in power. So, Super Buu turned everyone into chocolate. This was the third time Krillin died. In the other world, Yamcha and Krillin had a brief fight with Kid Buu, and they almost died again. Wait. Anyway, Krillin would be revived and would help, along with everyone else, to give their energy for Goku's Spirit Bomb. At the beginning of Dragon Ball Super, Krillin should have more or less the same power, maybe slightly weaker or slightly stronger. But for the Tournament of Power, Krillin trained a bit with everyone, with Android 18, with Gohan, and even with Goku, and in an illusion, he managed to overcome the fear he had of all the villains from the past, so he probably unlocked some hidden power, which was blocked by the fear of dying. I believe he reached at least 1 million in power, the same power as Frieza in his first form on Namek, but that's just a theory. And what do you think? We can't forget that Krillin is also a good strategist in battles, as he always faced opponents much stronger than him. And that's all for today, folks. If you liked the video, share it to help us out or leave a comment with a video suggestion. Thanks, guys. See you later.